Also, Madam Chair and board members, this is in reference to Monk. Monk is a lab mix, black and color male, altered, 8 years old. This occurred on July 31st, 2019. We issued a dangerous order on this due to the fact of severe animal attack. I'm going to be passing up some more information. Sorry. So I have actually the vet records and stuff in reference to Lulu, which is my dog in question that was injured. Also, the compliance for Mrs. Cross at her property. And then I also are going to pass up the statements coming from the complainant only because of the fact that she has a diagram attached to her statement so you can see the area. And then there's pictures basically of Monk that is in here as well. And Monk is home now. I'll continue. So on July 31st, 2019, Animal Care and Control received a call to assist County Police and Fire Department for 2 aggressive dogs at large. There was a human-bitten and animal attack at the Old Mill Swim Club. Animal Care Control Officer Glenn Johnson responded to the location. Upon arrival on the scene, he learned it was one dog that attacked another dog. The dog that was attacked was on a leash with the owner. I was told, meaning Glenn, I was told that the stray dog scratched the victim with its paw while trying to keep the dogs separated. The victim is Mickey Gomez. Left the scene before police arrived with a minor scratch on her forearm. Jonathan Owens, which is a witness, he was called, never got a response. Confined with a stray, Officer Johnson impounded the lab, black with white, neutered male, no collar, no microchip, appeared healthy. A second dog that was there ran off. It was described as a small terrier type, gray and black. It ran off and has not been seen since. Officer Johnson took an exposure report on the victim, which is Michael Ann Gomez of 8376 Williamstown Drive in Millersville, Maryland 21108. Animal Care and Control Officer Wolf spoke to the victim's Miss Gomez and learned that her bite was sustained when trying to separate the dog that was attacking her dog Lulu, a blue tick hound. Excuse me, Miss Gomez advised that her dog was taken to AVAC, the emergency vet hospital in Annapolis, for treatment and sustained an injury left side of the neck and had a cerebral hemorrhage in her eye. The wound on the neck were repaired with sutures and a drain. Officer Worth advised Ms. Gomez to send in a statement in which she responded and advised that on Wednesday, July 31st, 2019, she left her home at 11:06 a.m. to walk her dog Lulu on a leash at Barlow Field, which is next to the Old Mill Pool. They sat on a bench in the shade. She explained that she observed the dogs loose, described as a large dog and a smaller dog, walk along the forest line behind the pool. The smaller one, gray, the larger one was black, wearing a bandana. She advised that she assumed that someone was there with them. She explained that as they approached the back of the bench, she stood up and started to tell the dogs no. They came around to the front of the bench on with side and immediately surrounded them. She shouted to them no again. They started to press into Lulu from both sides. They began to attack Lulu. She was pulling to try and get away from them. The lab-type dog began to bite Lulu at her neck and then latched on. She shoved the other dog back. 2 men then ran up. John Owens was able to get the lab to release. They slipped the leash on the lab. The smaller dog ran off. Lulu was treated at AVAC. Officer Wolf spoke with the owners of the lab-type dog, Monk, Mrs. Colette Cross. She advised that her dogs got out for her door didn't latch properly. She explained that she was not home when this occurred. Ms. Colette was informed that an order would be issued after the case was reviewed. On July 31st, 2019, Animal Care and Control issued a dangerous order after a final review of the case file. On August 9, 2019, an inspection was conducted on the owner's property of 517 Kenora Drive in Millersville, and the first inspection failed. No doghouse was provided. However, it was corrected and Monk was released, and Mrs. Cross filed an appeal, and we're here today.
Anything else, Officer Brown?
No, sir.
Hi. I have 2 notarized letters to give to you from witnesses, I guess, or character references, I guess. Also, I guess that they keep saying that the person was bit, but the person was not bit. She was scratched, and she even said to me, and I guess I wasn't there, that she didn't know if it was her dog or which one of my dogs scratched her, that she was just in the middle of a dog fight and got scratched, and that she never saw a doctor or anything for that, and she was fine. I was in contact regularly with her after the fact to make sure she was okay and make sure the dog was okay. I had just received got a new doorknob, and I work a lot, and I pulled up to the house and called my kids and said, we're in a hurry, come out. They came out, they shut the door, we left. I guess the door didn't latch. New doorknob is different. So when I got home about 45 minutes later, there was a note on my door from my neighbor that said, your door was open, I found one of your dogs, she's back in there, but I didn't see the other dog. So I started driving around looking for Monk, and that's when I found animal control and they had him. What I heard from Lulu's mom is, and it doesn't surprise me at all, is that the dogs were across the street at the park. Again, my door was open. I wasn't home. I never let my dogs out without a leash. I'm very responsible with that. And I apologize. And since then, I obviously have a second barrier door. My smaller dog, who she said on there was black and gray, but is not. She's an Australian Shepherd, and she's red and white. And she had gone, started a dog fight, and she doesn't have teeth, really. So my other big dog, who is a big baby, jumped in to protect her, as far as what I can tell, and that's what Lulu's mom said to me on the phone. She said it looked like the smaller dog was the crazier one, and the bigger dog came in as the cleaning crew, was her words, a quote. He's never been in trouble before. I don't know if you want to see these pictures, but they're pictures of him sleeping with my daughter. She's 13, and he's been her dog for her whole life. He sleeps with her, and when she was little, she played doctor with him and opened his jowls and checked his teeth, and he's never been anything but gentle. He's a 100-pound baby. The biggest concern I would have is if he leans on you or licks you and has bad breath. He is a big baby. I actually got him from here, and he was a rescue from here. My other dog, also from here, I will admit, is a little insane. She has no teeth, and she has anxiety. That's why she was wearing a pink sweater. It's a thunder coat to keep her nerves down. And all I can think is that when they got out, she panicked because she doesn't get out, and she was scared. And the other one was being a big brother. That's the best I can think. They've never acted this way. When people come to the house, when a package gets delivered or anything like that, I put my anxiety dog away for her own calmness. I just tell her, I'm like, go to your room, and she goes and hides, and Monk stays out, and his name is Monk because he is that. He is the temperament of a monk. Did you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I'm partially disabled, so I don't stand real steady and all. And Monk is probably the gentlest dog I've ever seen. He is like a lump. The only thing, when he comes into my house, the only thing he wants to do is find some place to lay down. Put his head on your lap, that's it. He is just really, really gentle, and I've seen him around other people. She's had small parties at her house. He comes out, he kind of looks at people, puts his head on his lap, and then goes back to the bedroom to go to bed. He is the least aggressive dog I have ever seen, and I can be honest to tell you that's really the truth.
I'm also a single mom, and I had to take out a loan for everything to get him back.
What are you asking the commission to do?
I would like it to be lowered to a warning, since he's never been in trouble before. And since it's not even that they go out. Yes, it was my fault. My door was not closed, but it was not me being irresponsible.
Now, if you took out a loan to meet some of these requirements, which of the 12 requirements have you already met?
All of them. That's why I have my dog back. I failed the first time because, and I'm sorry to throw you under the bus, but Officer Wolf told me in the beginning that if I had a tarp over the kennel, that I didn't need a doghouse inside because that would, so when they came, they said I needed a doghouse, and I was working in Pennsylvania. I drove 3 hours to be here for the inspection, and I had to drive back that day. So I said, please let me get a doghouse right now. So I ran to the store and paid the $80 to get a doghouse and put it in there. And then they came back and passed my inspection. It wasn't because I chose not to do something. It's because I didn't know that that was something I needed to do. I would like to resell my $300 kennel. I would like to not pay $125 a year to have my baby be licensed. Those are the two things that are the most expensive, I think. Obviously, I already paid the vet bills. In here, when he was in here, everybody told me, I visited him every day, and everybody said he was so gentle. The woman that was feeding him said she would feed him last so she could spend extra time with him and go inside because he would just lay on her lap.
I'd say something.
And I moved in November 10th, 2018. I have 2 kids part-time every other weekend. Also, I have 2 other my dogs at the residence, and we've never had one issue. I'm also a dog walker, been professionally for like over 10 years. So I'm dealt with all kinds of dogs, and never once sensed anything in Monk or even Liesel that would give me caution with him around my dogs or around my kids. So, but yeah, he's a big lunk. He just wants to lay on the couch, or when we're out back, he just wants to lay on the deck, on the sun, stuff like that. And we've always had a secondary barrier up there because we don't kind of keep him down in the yard. So, but yeah, we just kind of want to get everything like reduced.
He has arthritis in his legs, so he can't even jump up. He's very feeble.
How old is he?
He's 8. I'm not sure. We think he's around 8. I got him here, so we can't tell for sure, but he's 100 pounds. He's probably a little bit overweight. He's a little chunky.
He's just a good dog.
He's the best dog I've ever had.
What do you think triggered this?
I think he was protecting Liesel. I think that, like I said, they don't go out on their own. I think that was the first problem. When they were out, they would have crossed Old Mill Road. I don't know if you're familiar with that, by the 7-Eleven, but it's a pretty major road. So they would have already crossed over traffic, which never would have happened in their lives. And they probably were anxious and panicked that they were without me or lost or whatever. And when they saw another dog, like I said, Liesel is crazy. I'll admit, if I was here with Liesel, we'd be having a different story, although she doesn't have teeth, so she wouldn't have bit anybody, but she's anxious and nervous and shakes, and I think Monk is her brother, and I think when he sensed danger, if the 2 of them got in a fight, and I know whatever her statement says, but she did say to me on the phone, and she's not here, but she did say that Liesel came in and was starting a dog fight with her dog, and while they were in midst of dog fight, Monk jumped in. And he is a big, strong dog. I mean, he's old and he's feeble, but he's big. He's 100 pounds. And so if he was going to try to hurt somebody, obviously he could. He did some damage to that dog because he's big and has sharp teeth. But he has never done anything wrong in his life before now, and I've had him for a long time. I've had birthday parties. Like I said, my daughters are 13 and 17, so for 8 years ago, my daughters were 5 and 11, or no, 5 and 8, and sorry, and they have played with him. They've had kids spend the night. We've had I've taken him to dog parks. We've never had any issue with him.
Officer Wolf, can I see a picture?
And that woman could have screamed and scared him too.
You have a picture? I want to see a
Of
picture.
Monk, yes.
Not attractive.
He is too attractive. He's beautiful.
He's just fun, but he's not attractive.
He's the most spoiled one in the house.
Yes.
Only because of the fact of being a public safety officer here and understanding the circumstances of it. And I did read, her statement and everything, and understanding that, we had basically an Australian Shepherd started, but the fact that we had a faulty door. So, you know, my concern is that, you know, understanding there's pictures here, and this is no pun to you, okay? But basically, we understand that, you know, Monk is friendly with everybody else, okay? If he has this kind of a trigger and he's being, you know, very protective and stuff like that over the female, you know, I can't say that this can occur if he gets back out again, if they get back out again. You know, when I had a chance to basically speak with the complainant here, and I did actually talk to her in reference to her statement, she basically said they were running across the field to get to her location. You know, so my concern is that if, you know, if he's going into the protective mode of her, you know, and understanding that there's an incident happening, and he immediately went for her dog and grabbed a hold of her neck and then latched on. So to me, he meant business. Okay, so our job is not saying that he's a vicious dog and our job is here it is to kill this animal. Not exact, no. Our job is to correct it so he can succeed. Whatever your decisions are here made today and stuff is not pointing fingers to basically saying that this is a 100% dangerous dog. I understand if this is first incident, he doesn't have anything on record, then how do we correct it? That's our job. It's our job as public safety officers. We want to correct it. We don't want to see them in their position again where if it's a faulty door, a faulty gate, or something of that nature, once the female goes, obviously he's going to follow. And then we could wind up having another incident. And the fact that this happened on public property is also a concern. You know, this young lady was just sitting on the bench minding her own business with a dog leashed. You know, if this was a different situation, and I have to put it out there because we do look outside the box. If this was somebody younger or a child was walking their dogs, or we had multiple kids with, you know, family and 2 dogs get into it, then we could have had multiple injuries. So that's what we're trying to correct. Our job, basically, again, is to have him succeed, not fail. You know, if he started to be more of the aggressor, and he's the one that did the damage to this dog, obviously, I mean, the dog's got a nice size laceration. So, you know, how can we correct it? That is our job. That's why we're here, understanding when she's appealing it. But I want her to understand is that, you know, we can see pictures all day long of him with people. We understand he's friendly with people. Absolutely. That's not what we're saying. We're basically saying that, you know, if he's got the pack mentality of protecting her, well, then that's what we need to do. We need to basically have something in place to basically correct his behavior so that way if something would happen again, he'd ever get back out again with her. You know, we're not going to see a repeat because we don't want to see her in a liability. Okay, he could pay him the liability as soon as his toes reach the street. So how can we correct it? You know, and obviously, you know, we felt it under the dangerous code because of the fact that this, you know, the injuries to the other dog was severe. So that's why we went with that. You know, could it be lowered to a potentially dangerous? Absolutely. If you want to lower it to a warning, that is totally up to you. If you lower it to a warning, you know, what I'm going to basically say to her is that if that is the case and that's the decision that we make today, you need to keep an understanding that it's a recommendation, but we're going to really push that you do this. Because once a warning letter is even issued, it stays with the life of the pet. If this dog would get back out again or something would happen, everything that is basically in this file is going to come right back up again. You know, and then we're back to square one.
I understand that.
Let me just ask a question. You're in compliance with the order, right?
Yeah.
Is it just the title that just rubs you the wrong way?
No.
Or is there something in these items that you just cannot live with?
Well, I could resell the kennel for $300, which would help a lot in groceries. And the $125 a year licensing fee is a lot for me. I'm a single mom and I don't make a lot of money. Those are the 2 biggest ones just because of the money-wise.
And you're a dog walker.
Mr. Thomas, with the 125 goes with the dangerous, what's the fee for a PDO?
100.
So it's...
And it's 6 for a warning.
Even if you, and not to interrupt you, Colette, but even if we, you know, came to an agreement or a decision to, you know, lower this, you know, and you took out number 3, hypothetically here, okay, understand that her kennel was the issue here, you know, I can't say that animal care control, we talked to this before about the clause in reference to the dogs. Anytime that it's out, it has to be leashed and muzzled and under control of an adult. You know, I can't say that we can't put that on the table. I think that basically the concern is when he's out, this is where we need to control him. that's the whole purpose of this.
He's actually never been in the kennel. I don't really understand the kennel situation because he's not an outdoor dog. So I got it, and I got the dog house, and it's sitting on my deck because I didn't have the money to or the time to lay a concrete slab to put it, and you can't just put it on dirt. But he's never been in it. Like, it's just sitting there waiting to resell because he's not an outdoor dog. I take him outside on a leash to pee and poop, and he comes in and he gets back in bed, usually under the covers.
Pretty much true.
You don't
So-
have a fenced-in yard?
Well, it's a
We do,
chain
but
link
it's a-
fence.
So you
Yeah.
have a chain, okay.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's
chain
a
link
short
fence,
one.
but I don't have the money to put up a 6-foot privacy fence.
How tall is it?
It's about
3.5 feet.
3 foot one.
Oh, the
It's
Aussie
just-
will go over that.
That's why I don't take them out, not on a leash. They're always on a leash. I don't put them in the yard, not on a leash. I take them out on a leash, they go to the bathroom, they come back in. That's all we do. They're old. The Aussie's about 10, so it's not even like I exercise them regularly. Like, they're old. They like to lay on the bed. So the kennel's there, and there's a key lock on it, but he's never been in it because I don't know what the circumstances would be that I would put him in there.
And how many other ones do you have?
I have one other dog,
Liesel.
Liesel.
Okay.
Again, she hasn't been in there either because my dogs aren't outdoor dogs. I don't know when you would do that. I guess people do that. They lock their dogs in kennels and they go to work. I don't do that. I leave my dogs on the bed and I go to work.
Well, let's see. You can put them
Officer Thomas, we can amend a dangerous order, right?
Yes, you
know?
can.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Anything more before we deliberate?
I guess not.
And again, my 2 dogs are also in the house, and they're all together all day, every day, and not one issue. So I don't think I think he was just basically protecting Lisa.
It
because
was the
she's so-
situation. It was not a normal
Yeah,
situation. And we can talk all day long about what could happen if a dog got out, and then we can go put a danger order on every single house in this county that has a
Now,
dog.
When your 2 got out, what about your 2?
My 2 were downstairs. Because her dog has like anxiety issues. We put the gate up because downstairs where
My dog pees on the floor.
is the only carpet in the house.
So which one is it?
So Lisa will
Lisa's
pee on the
downstairs.
floor when we're not home, and there's only a carpet downstairs, so sometimes I gate the downstairs so that Lisa can't pee on the carpet when I'm gone. So his dogs just happened to be lucky enough to be downstairs in the gate and didn't get out when my 2 got out.
Yeah.
But it's only,
Oh, you keep her.
so they won't,
use
so she won't pee on the carpet.
carpet as bathroom.
Because the rest of my house is hard floor.
Oh, one more question for Officer Thomas. Can we name our price on a licensing fee? Or if it's a dangerous order, it's gotta be $125. If it's
It's
a,
county code.
got it.
Yeah.
Just wanted to check.
So it's 6 and then 100 and 125.
We couldn't make a recommendation for the minimum fee though, or could we?
I mean, you
Amend,
can, that's a good question for the law office, because I can't answer that. I mean, it's a county code that basically,
Right,
standard license is $2 for altered animal.
yeah.
Truthfully, I kind of like the secondary barrier for the front door because my Liesel's afraid of it. So she doesn't like get near the door when I try to open the door anymore. So like that. And I already had a second barrier for the outside in the back because they like to lay on the deck in the sun.
Do you have to call recess to answer that question?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
I'm sorry, what?
What's that?
If you need to talk to the law office, if you need to have questions or counsel, you'd have to end the meeting
Go in the other room.
and then come back.
It's just a matter of trying to help her out. That's.
Well, we should get back and talk.
Okay, we're gonna take a moment.
So you adjourn
We're
for a
gonna go
little
talk
bit.
about it.
We're gonna adjourn for about 5 minutes. We're gonna talk to our lawyer, and then we'll be back.
Okay. Do I just stay right here?
Yes. Do you have anything to add before we deliberate?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Call for deliberations.
All right, we're gonna have deliberations, and we'll need to talk about it. So what would the commission like to do? I'm gonna say to keep it at a PDO.
That's what I was gonna.
What?
DO now.
Yeah, it's a dangerous order, not a potentially dangerous.
Oh, that's right.
So you want to
PDO.
keep it a dangerous order? That's what I would like to see. I would be willing to eliminate number 3 since she doesn't use it anyways, and maybe that could give her some money back and leave everything else the same. That would be my 2 cents.
Which number 3?
Number 3, the kennel that she's not using, and therefore she could reclaim some money on that.
Would that include the doghouse inside of it?
Okay, anyone else have some thoughts?
Well, you want to make a motion? Well, she asked a question about what about getting rid of
Well, we
the kennel
can't
and
answer.
the...
I mean, that sounds like that's covered in number 3. Let me see here. Yeah, that's all covered in that same number, so that would eliminate.
The doghouse and the kennel.
Mhm.
And these dogs don't go out, correct? Is that what you're telling?
They go out to go to the bathroom.
But you have control, they're
Yes,
on leash?
they're- yes,
Okay.
always. I'm a dog walker for a job. That's what I do. I walk dogs, so I walk my own
Okay,
dogs.
so we're in deliberations now.
Sorry.
So if we eliminated number 3, that would take care of the doghouse and the kennel?
Correct.
Okay, so you're willing to make a motion to that effect?
I mean, does anyone else want to have some discussion first, or?
I'm with you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to uphold the dangerous order with the amendment that number 3 is eliminated.
I second.
All in favor? Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
So